Welcome back to the program. It is now time for our hot potato political roundtable. This week we are joined by Hayden Shamel and John Burris. It is great to have both of you here. Hayden is a new contributor to Talk Business and Politics. Glad to have you on board. For people who don't know these two folks' background, we have John is a consultant and lobbyist with Capital Advisors Group and a former state legislator. Hayden is a teacher and is active in Garland County politics and is the former 4th Congressional District nominee in 2018.
That's right.
All right, so
that's great.
Good to go. So maybe you guys will have some differing viewpoints on a few things.
I would imagine so.
Hayden, I'm going to let you go first. The way we play hot potato is you get to throw the first topic out on the table. What do you want to do?
Well, I'd like to talk climate change. You know, there was a report that was released this week that is new that says that in the coming years, Arkansas will face a killer heat wave. And that coupled with the catastrophic climate events that we've seen recently, just this last week, for example, you know, Murfreesboro and Derrick, seeing the flooding as a result of the tropical storm. I'd like to talk about climate change and see, you know, just how long we can continue to deny science.
I feel like I have survived a couple of killer heat waves already. So,
yeah.
John, I will let you go first.
I want to be everything you probably don't like on the topic. I'm one of those that man-made, natural. I don't know. I know that it's a hot potato topic because people love to have an opinion on it. A lot of times the people I talk to don't really know why they feel the way they feel, but they feel very passionate about it. I'm glad some people spend time on it. It's not really my thing. I don't know what's happening and why, but I know there's a lot of people with really passionate views on it. I'm just not one of them.
So basically what you're saying is you don't believe in science? Is that what you're saying, John?
I know that not 100% of the scientists agree on exactly what's happening and why. I know it's easy to talk about science, but I know that not all scientists agree. Like I said, it's just not something that I can to work myself up and to be really passionate about. I hope in 20 years I'm not watching this and and feel silly for that. But honestly, that's just kind of where I am.
But
I hope not too, because
we will save it for 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the science says that by 2036 we're going to see up to 90 days above 100-degree heat index, and that is killer heat. That's killer heat. And I know already. You know, I mean, it's hot. It is hot. And I think what it comes down to is that we've got to do something. We have to do something, and we can no longer deny what scientists and meteorologists continue to tell us.
And the fundamental question is what level's man-made, what level's natural, and I don't think the science is universal.
But they do agree that men do contribute to climate change.
Men and women.
Men and women.
All right. John, I will let you throw your topic out there, and it is?
The state surplus, and that was announced into the fiscal year, July 1st. Governor Hutchinson announced I don't even remember the number, honestly. I think it was $250 million or so.
$295.4 million.
Y'all are on it, and that's even better news. I mean, that's equivalent to close to 5% of the state budget. The state has been reducing the income tax burden, reducing other burdens, making Arkansas more business friendly. Doing all of that, funding our priorities, increasing funding to priorities every year through revenue stabilization has resulted in a great economy. The surplus is great news, and I hope it's news that leads the legislature and the governor to cut income taxes even more.
Hey, I'm going to think you got a different perspective on this.
No, I agree that we do need to cut income taxes. I think that my perspective is probably different in terms of who we need to cut those income taxes for. I think for far too long our focus has been on the top, has been on corporate interests, rather than focused on people like myself, teachers, law enforcement, people who go from paycheck to paycheck, who struggle to make ends meet. I think that's where our focus needs to be. I'm in agreement with the governor, what he said, his remarks this week, that we need to invest a lot of that money from the surplus into long-term savings. I think that a lot of people like to paint Democrats with a broad brush and say that all Democrats are socialists and they just want to give everything away for free. That couldn't be further from the truth. I think that one thing that we need to do is be fiscally conservative. He said that we need to put that money into savings in the case of an economic downturn. I think that's a good idea. But again, to come back to the taxes, it's who we're focused on. Are we focused on everyday people, or are we focused on just those at the top? And we know that Arkansans are comprised of hard-working individuals who really need that help. And so that's where I'd like to see our focus.
You make some good points. I would say that the top rate coming down to 5.9 helps most Arkansans because the top rate kicks in at a very low level, about the median income. And so that's a good thing, and it makes our state more competitive. Your point on the long-term reserve is good. That doesn't get as much attention as it should. The governor started funding restricted reserve, I think they call it, rainy day, long-term reserve, all these accounts that eventually help our bond rating and can save the state money through that. But having that money set aside in rainy day and long-term reserve is a good thing.
Should some of that $295 million go into pre-K education?
Maybe. That's an ongoing obligation. That's always the challenge. You look at surpluses and people always know how to spend it. Pre-K is an ongoing obligation. I think increasing funding is a good thing and should definitely be a priority. You have to balance it all.
It's good to hear you say that education should be a priority. Benjamin Franklin said an investment in knowledge pays the best interest.
There you go.
I agree with Benjamin Franklin.
All right. We're going to fly our kites into the big controversy of the week on the national level, and that is President Donald Trump's comments about 4 congresswomen. And then he singles out in a rally, which a chant breaks out, "Send her back, send her back." Is the president racist, or is the president using racial division for political gain?
I think it's more of the latter, if you don't mind me going first. I mean, that doesn't mean it's not obnoxious. That doesn't mean it's... I think people are so quick to run out and just throw out the easy label, racist. And I guess maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm willing to concede it's obnoxious and wrong. I mean, and maybe that's enough. I was glad to see you walked it back. But then that to me, the reaction from a lot of liberals I see on television or social media highlight the problem. The president walked it back, and then it was, well, he didn't mean it. He didn't mean the apology or the walk back. He meant what he said the first time. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It's just no one really has an interest in dialing any of this down. Everyone loves to dial it up, including the president and including a lot of people for political gain. It's unfortunate. I don't like it. Most of all because it's wrong. Second of all, because it distracts from real issues. I mean, I think the 4 people that he singled out have extreme ideologies that are not helpful to our country or the policy goals that I believe in. But I don't think we should send them back at a rally. I think we should talk about how they're wrong.
Hayden?
I'm glad to hear you say that we shouldn't send them back. The president is a racist. The president is a liar. And it's time for people to call a spade a spade. I'm deeply disappointed in the reaction from the Arkansas congressional delegation, which I thought was weak and ineffective. I'm glad to know that French Hill calls out the president for these remarks, but we can't be afraid to say when a president makes racist remarks that he's a racist. And to see him walk it back, it's an embarrassment to this country. And what I think it comes down to at the end of the day is that there is a right side and a wrong side of history. And I'm glad to know that I'm standing on the right side.
I think the best place to leave it would be right there. So we're at the end of the program anyway. We were out of time. John Burris, Hayden Shamel, thank you both for sharing your opinions.
Thank you for having me.
Fun topics.
Thanks.
And hard topics, and I appreciate you both. That's all for today's Talk Business and Politics. I'm Roby Brock. We will see you next time.